Imagine if there was a place that proved all your biased historical takes, or at the very least helped you prove that your language is one of the most ancient languages of all times, as well as your culture. This place made all your nationalist wet dreams come true. That's exactly what happened for Tamil Nadu in 2017 when they found an excavation site in Keeladi. This excavation site caused great confusion and controversy with North Indian archaeologists while confirming the biases of South Indian archaeologists. Now, before we get into the controversy, let's hear about the context. I have talked about this site in my previous videos. It is a site in Tamil Nadu which dates back to as far back as 580 BC. It is about 12 kilometers southeast of Madurai. Might even have been a twin city to the Sangam age Madurai, or even its precursor at first. When in 2017 ASI started digging, they found artifacts of potteries and metal tools and all that dating back to 200 BC, which is quite fitting with the timeline of what we thought the Sangam age was. With the second excavation, we found more complex tools and government seals and other complex structures that proved that it was a part of a much more complex kingdom and might even have been a city. In fact, there were over 6,000 artifacts that were excavated. We even found some Tamil Brahmi inscriptions from the excavation site. It was a rare insight into the early evolution of Tamil Brahmi. It was a great find. All of this was par for the course. It was great at providing the context of what we knew already and giving us more information about this time period. But we expected there to be a civilization around 200 BC in and around Madurai as a part of the Tamil Sangam kingdoms. But then the fourth set of excavations began, which turned everything on its head, as after digging in different spots in Keeladi, produced artifacts that were equally as complex as others with a different writing system when compared to Tamil Brahmi, written as graffiti on pottery. And this pottery was dated to 580 BC. For context, the earliest writing sample that we 100% know of are Ashokan inscriptions that are written in Ashokan Brahmi around 3rd century BC. This would push the date of the first writing system in India by 300 years. To counter that, there is no conclusive evidence that the writing is from the same time as the pot, so it's still a little ambiguous. Since then, we have found currency dating to 200 BC and burial urns suggesting that in this society people both burnt their dead and buried their dead, which is quite similar to early Vedic settlements in the north. They have found jewelry and even at the most recent time found a drainage system made of terracotta. The Indus Valley drainage system fans must be delighted. The nearby sites in Gorkai has pushed the human settlement dates in this area to as far back as 785 BC, though the structures found there are not nearly as complex as Keeladi, suggesting that it wasn't a city. But the reason why it's most recently in conversation is because of the controversy. Its original lead archaeologist Amarnath Ramakrishnan released a report on the Keeladi findings, claiming that the writing and the most complex potsherds on which these Tamil Brahmi inscriptions or an earlier version of Tamil Brahmi inscriptions are written are from the 6th century BC. It would change everything if this finding was based on new information, but none of the most recent digs confirm or deny the possibility that this was actually from the 6th century BC. And to this day, the criticisms from the conclusion arrived at the 4th dig in 2018 still stands. We have no conclusive evidence that these inscriptions themselves are from 6th century BC. The soil layer they were found in was certainly from 6th century BC, but it seems that this particular civilization used to engage in burying their garbage. So artifacts from later centuries find their way into layers from earlier centuries. Still, it remains a possibility that there was a writing system that was earlier than Brahmi or Tamil Brahmi, dating back to 6th century BC, but we can't conclude it either way. And based on this doubt, ASI asked Ramakrishnan to maybe consider adding a little disclaimer that says that results are inconclusive and further research is needed. It is important to understand that they didn't turn it down completely. Archaeology is a slow field. Each dig takes years to come up with conclusive evidence for anything, sometimes even ranging into decades. Probably with more evidence, the conclusion would be the same as the one Ramakrishnan arrived at. But it's too early to arrive at that conclusion. We need more conclusive evidence, like finding even more writing in the 600 BC layer around the area, before we can say that is actually the case. To be sure, ASI is not saying that Keeladi was not a major settlement or that it didn't have a writing system at all. That has been proven beyond a shadow of the doubt by the second dig. They're also not saying that there was no settlement at all around 580 BC, just that its complexity would most likely be less than that of what settlement it became by 3rd century BC, and especially towards the end of its settlement by the 2nd century AD. Ramakrishnan, of course, refuses to make these changes, and so he got demoted for a while before he recently got reinstated to start digging on the same site again. Based on that, the political class of Tamil Nadu is up in arms about this. They say that the center always suppresses Tamil heritage, which, I mean, yeah, the Keeladi dig was taken over by the Tamil Nadu department rather than overall ASI from the 3rd dig onwards. So there is probably some politics involved here, but that's not what's happening here. I mean, it still could be, but principally we need to look more into this before we can arrive at any conclusion. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidences. Although, as a side note, I would completely be on board with ASI's position had they not done the exact same thing with Sonali and its supposed chariot. I mean, it's more than likely a chariot from 2100 BC, but it could also be a bullock cart. And more artifacts need to be found before we can conclusively conclude that it is a chariot. But ASI and me jumped onto the bandwagon of this being a war chariot from 4000 years ago, a full 500 years before it was used anywhere else. No matter how much Indians try to differentiate themselves from each other and claim superiority over it based on their language and how ancient it is, or their caste, or their culture, or their ancestors' achievements, or their belief systems, at the end of the day, all Indians are more similar than we give it credit. We all lop up misinformation as long as it serves our bias. And this holds true across the borders of the Indian subcontinent as well. More work is being done on Keeladi. The original researcher, Amarnath Ramakrishnan, has been reinstated to the dig. We have many international research institutes working on this because it has got international attention, and we have even sent a skull to try and reconstruct the face of a person that used to live here. Overall, we are trying to reconstruct the life of a person that would live in Keeladi in 500 BC. And maybe with more evidence, we will push back the date of writing in the subcontinent by another 3 centuries. Or maybe we'll get more information that disproves it. Either way, there is another site that proves that Tamil Brahmi predates Ashokan Brahmi, at least by a few decades. So people from Tamil Nadu can continue to just thump and say that they were the first literate people since the Indus Valley civilization. And either way, Keeladi, Shivgalai, Korkai, and Adi Chanalur are some of the most mind-boggling sites in the whole Indian subcontinent, and they all challenge our understanding of Indian history. See you next time with a video about 2 other sites that change everything.